So let's make a doorway and make a door like that, and we'll just have the door kind of slide up when we activate it. Doesn't look pretty, but you get the general gist, I hope. So now let's put this timeline over there, and I always change it to beats because then I have more control over the timing. So the first keyframe will be in there, and we're going to make it open, so let's make another keyframe, and we'll use precise move to just move it straight up like that. Cool. And then L1 and X to add some blending to it, and just do that. So now it'll play through and open, and we'll make it faster. Cool. Yeah, so let's get a trigger zone and just move it to there. Okay, that'll do. So when you're there, I'm going to have the door open and close just using this one timeline. So to do that, I'll plug something into the playhead. So this, if you aren't aware, we'll just plug it straight in. This is the timer output. So over time, this goes, we'll make this shorter. The current time moves towards the target time, and it outputs a percentage of how much it is towards the target time. So when it's at the end, it's 100%, so it sends a number 1. So you can see that down here, sends 0 up to number 1 over 1.5 seconds. So if we use that to power the playhead, we can actually control the playhead directly. When it's a 0, it's on the beginning. When it's a 1, it's at the end. And you're in between, it's in between. So we will use this directly into there, and it will play the timeline as normal over 1.5 seconds, and you can control how long it's going to take. So now it will take 5 seconds to go through that timeline, for example. We'll make that shorter again. But this has a positional mode. Positional mode, get another slider. Positional mode, you send a signal into start timer. That is the percentage of the target time you want the timer to get to. So if I put in, it's just sending 0, so it's staying at 0. If I send it 1, it will try to get to 100%, which is 1.6 seconds. But if I send it to whatever percentage, it will play or rewind time in real time to get to that point. So we can use this. If I put in a switch actually sends values, so it sends a 1 for on or a 0 for off, or whatever values you want to set in here. So I set it to off. When I turn it on, then it plays to get to the end. When I turn it off, it plays backwards to get to the start. So if I use that in the playhead, I can play the timeline forwards and then backwards. So we can use that if we're close and in the trigger zone, then it plays forwards and opens the door, and then when we're out of the trigger zone, it will play backwards and close the door again using this exact same animation in reverse. If it has something plugged into the playhead, it also doesn't like turn off. So yeah, so wait a minute. Oh, we have to plug it in. Yeah, so it still stays active if it has something in the playhead, as well as if it has something plugged into the power. So it's a little caveat thing. So you go towards the door, opens it up. You can like add sound effects or whatever. Move through the door, and it closes behind you. opens, and closes. Now let's say we have some extra effects. In this case, they'll be kind of dumb. In this case, we'll just make it kind of flash white. Expand that out with L1 and right, and make this wider. And I'll just so near the start, it kind of flashes white for whatever reason. Just turn that off. Yeah, so now just test that. So it's flashing white, and then we go through and it flashes white in reverse again. What if we didn't want it to flash white on the way down, but maybe make the door black when it's going down? I don't know what the rationale for this could be. But what we could do is copy the first one so that it will go down again. And let's add another keyframe to tint it black. And move it to the right slightly. And put that all the way to the end. So now that timeline actually has the opening and closing. Cool. So in this case, we're going to make it work a different way. I think we can get away with doing this actually. If we just power it and we have it on once mode. So we just test that. We go into the zone and go out. Oh, this acceleration needs to be fixed. So go in and just to trigger it, and it still plays through because it's on once mode. That's fine. But we want it to pause at this point where it's open. So we'll add a keyframe that sets the playback speed to 0. So while that keyframe is on, when it gets to that point, it's because it's probably want this playing at 100%. Because it's playing too fast, then it might skip some of these frames. Okay, so that works. So then it freezes it in the open position. But we want it so that if we're in that zone, then it freezes at that position. Otherwise, it will just close again as soon as it can. So, yeah, so it will just close normally. And if we rewind and we stay in the zone, it will stay open for us to walk through, and then when we go out, then it will close. So now we want all that to activate when we go into the zone, so we'll power it. So we'll power it and then it will start playing. If we're still in the zone by the time it's open, it will pause there, and then when we leave the zone, it will resume and play the rest of it. So let's see if that works okay. So it'll pause and then go out, and then it closes with the slightly different animation. So you can have different effects activated or whatever you want to do. I'd like to give a big thank you to my supporters who made this tutorial possible. Kolvitzer, Kelbjörns, Jack Power, Hyperdream Surfer, Mobius DT, X Cantaloupe, Prism Knight 90, Martinity DK, The Common People, Rev Player, and MDKD 99. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. If you'd like me to continue making these daily tutorials and helping creators across the internet, you can support me through the link in the description. Thanks for your consideration, and I'll see you in the next one.